folks. Welcome back to Smart Simple Fit. Today, we're going to talk about a subject that's very near and dear to my heart, and that is why you should stay natural. Okay, let's jump right into it. So basically, what you'll see on the YouTube fitness and just broader the fitness community on social media is that there's a camp that's very much actively against the use of PEDs in sports, recreationally. There are people who, they try to sound neutral. They act like, it doesn't matter, do whatever you want, it's perfectly fine. And then there are people who actively take it, maybe don't promote it, and then even people who go as far to promote it. So it's sort of a chaotic Wild West out there in social media and the fitness sphere. And I feel the need to give you my 2 cents on the subject. So if it wasn't clear already, my stance is very clearly against the use of PEDs for any reason whatsoever. Okay, I'm completely against the use of steroids for whether that's competitive ambitions, whether that's some guy in his 40s who thinks, oh, I need TRT, or just some kid who's hopping on a trend and maybe is hopping on trend or SARMs or whatever else it is, peer pressure, wants to get famous on social media, whatever it is. Okay, some kind of little SARMs goblin on TikTok. Point is, I am completely against all of this stuff. And this little niche here on YouTube Fitness, we could call it like the noble natty community. I embrace that. I embrace that as an identity. I know people make a big fuss out of like identity politics or collectivism, something like that. But the point is, we have to stick together under banners, under causes, under ideas. And I'm 100% for the cause of advocating against steroids. Stay natural, okay? We're going to go through a list of points of objections to the noble natty philosophy, and we're going to destroy them one at a time. And you're going to see by the end of today's video that not only is there absolutely no justification for you to hop on PEDs, you're going to see how stupid it is, you're going to see the consequences of it, and you're going to see what people are capable of natural, even as they age. I mean, we're talking 50s, 60s, etc. Okay, you're going to see that with your eyes. You're going to hear what I have to say. And the temptation, my goal is to get all that temptation of PEDs out of your mind. I want you to be free from that so you can enjoy the natural potential that your body has. That's a gift, okay? Not from you, all right? Not even from your parents, but the gift, the precious gift of life and the gift of being able to use your muscles, okay? I'm going to teach you to appreciate that for what it is. All right, let's jump into it. The first point, there's a black pill, right? In the context of fitness, the black pill is basically that if you're not on steroids, you can't achieve very much. Okay, a very good representation of this was a video where Greg Doucette was talking to Mike Israetel. And by no means are these guys like the worst for promoting PEDs. They're both on PEDs, right? These are both PED users. I would consider Mike actually very, very smart, very knowledgeable, very reliable source. I think Renaissance Periodization is a good company and they put out good videos. Greg, not so much. He's put out some decent videos in the past, but he's riddled with scandals these days. The point is, these guys aren't stupid by any means. They're both actually formally educated. They both have advanced degrees. So these guys put out a video where they're talking about how a 300-pound bench press, a 400-pound squat, and a 500-pound deadlift are elite.
Can all healthy males, so you're not have low test levels, you're not like 3 feet tall, like you're just the average healthy male. If they dedicate their lives, like they train perfectly, they have a coach, they do everything 100%, they train their ass off. Bench 300, squat 400, and deadlift 500.
No. They basically made it sound like it would be unlikely that the average man is capable of hitting these numbers, which is ridiculous. If you have been working out for 5 to 10 years on your own, whether you watch a lot of YouTube fitness or whether you're educated formally or not, you know that that's totally possible. Maybe you can only bench, you're listening to this, you can only bench 250, so you squat 315, deadlift 425. Those are great numbers, but you have the rest of your life to slowly trickle away at it. And if you can add 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds to your lifts, each individual lift each year, you're doing great. Okay, so don't listen to these guys telling you that those are unrealistic goals. And I remember after watching that video, this came out, I think probably 3 years ago now, almost going on it. My numbers were not anywhere close to that. And I'm still far away from that on my bench press. But the point is, I saw my deadlift. Okay, I only started deadlifting within the last few years. My deadlift blew up from below 300 to above 405 in like a year and a half. So if I can achieve that, and I know someone's going to say, well, good genetics, but even if I have good genetics and I can do that, there's no reason that the average man can't do that same amount of progress in double the time, right? 3 years. So if someone can build their way up to like a 405 deadlift in like 3 years, why couldn't they hit a 5-plate deadlift in their lifetime? That doesn't make sense. So that's just one good example of the black pill. No, a 300 and 400, 500 pound lifts for the big three. No, they're not unrealistic goals. I think they're really good. Faz Lifts made a post recently where he said that should be like a natty standard, a minimum, long-term minimum. Those should be like your lifetime goals at the minimum. If you're a male who takes, strength training, bodybuilding seriously in any capacity, right? Yeah, it's a minimum. So the black pill is here to tell you, you can't achieve 17-inch arms. You can't hit a 315 bench. You can't hit a 405 bench. You can't hit a 4-plate back squat. It's going to tell you that there's these arbitrary fixed numbers that are out of reach for you. And therefore, if you want to get jacked and stacked and strong, you have to take PEDs or just give up, or maybe hire a special coach with a special degree and he'll get you closer to that. It's just ridiculous. Okay, whether it's Alpha Destiny, I guess Alex Leonidas he goes by now, which really cool name. Bald Omni Man, my own journey. My cousin and editor Emmett Cordis, go check out his channel, show him some love. Basement Bodybuilding, Stand Strength, Protein Man. These are all great examples of natural transformations. You want to go look at their videos and see what these guys can achieve. Now again, claimed natty, right? There's always a concern of a fake natty, but let's just say I have it on good word that these guys are all natural. Yeah, I do. And these are guys who can bench well north of 3 plates. Okay, Alex Leonidas can bench 4 plates, and he can deadlift 6, and he can squat 5 plates. Okay, so if these are the numbers that these guys can achieve, obviously we could say it's skewed towards their genetics. They have good genetics. But the point is, if they can achieve that, subtract 100 pounds, 150 pounds. There's no reason that you watching this video can't hit 250 on bench in your lifetime. If you commit to it and eat some calories and actually get 8 hours of sleep a night instead of 5, right? Clean up your habits, clean up your technique. Of course you can do it. Give it a decade. Give it 5 years. Most people don't even give training like 5 good years of consistency. Stop switching your exercises. Stop quitting for 2 months. Just stay focused. Okay. Stop letting people tell you what the firm limit is. Okay. Max Sheathar, guy totaled 2,000 natural, a 2,000 pound total natural, and an 800 pound deadlift at the age of 19. If he can do that, tested Powerlifting Federation, if he can do that, there's no reason that you can't get to a 4-plate or a 5-plate deadlift in your lifetime. Okay. And by the way, by the time you get to those numbers, you're going to look and feel great. Even if you're just training for fun and to feel better and just be a bit stronger for work and to enjoy time with your family and just to look a bit fitter, have more energy. Yeah, that's great. Okay, you don't need to try and invest all your points in trying to get a 7-plate deadlift or something crazy. Those are crazy numbers. But even then, I wouldn't say 675 is unrealistic natural lifetime. It could be very realistic. It depends on the person. Because genetics is individualized, because work ethic is individualized, lifestyle, the varying degrees of commitment that people put into exercise, it would be really difficult for me to say, oh yeah, this is a realistic standard that you should aim for. No, I just don't think it's intellectually honest to say this is the limit. We all have our own limits. We don't know what they are until we act on the potential. I'm not the biggest fan of Mike Mentzer, but listen to these words of wisdom.
Don't, however, worry about your individual potential. Potential is only the expression of a possibility, something that can be assessed accurately only in retrospect. In other words, you'll never know how good you might have become unless you try.
Okay, so even Mike Mentzer can point out the obvious. You need to use the potential before you know how much potential there is. It's not something you just know the abstract amount, all right? Now, furthermore, the point of fake natties and testing, yeah, it's true. You don't know that I'm natural. You don't know that Bald Omni Man's natural. You don't know that Suboptimal Gains and Protein Man and Jeffrey Verity Schofield, look how huge his arms are. You don't know that he's natural. But in this community, I think these guys have built a pretty good reputation. And based on that reputation, I'm willing to trust them. I'm willing to take them at their word. And you know what? If you're so black-pilled that you think these physiques are unattainable, I just challenge you to put in the work. I'm not going to tell you to go crawl in a cave and die or something mean like that, but just try. Just try a little harder, guys. All right. So while it's true you don't know 100%, and even then people go to their way to cheat tests and do substances that can't be tested as easily, that's not an excuse to say everyone who looks better than you is on PEDs. That's a hard cope. Furthermore, there's also an objection that testosterone decreases sharply with age. It really doesn't. Okay, it decreases a bit, but it's not really a lot of a difference until you're in like your, I don't know, 70s, 80s, 90s. Even then, I've seen people make gains. My oldest client is 94 years old and he's making gains. Is he in his peak shape? Is he as strong as he was probably in his 20s? No, probably not. But if he can exercise and on a month-to-month basis make gains, why can't you? He's 94. Okay, let me give you another example, right? Training 2 female clients. One of them's 57 years old, the other one's 41. Their rate of progress on deadlift was very similar. They both consistently could add about 10 pounds per month to their deadlift. Both of them can rep out like 170 pounds on a conventional deadlift for reps. And these are females. And there's a 16-year age gap. So despite the age, they're doing just fine. Let me give you one more example for age. My good friend Adam, okay, go check out his YouTube channel and Instagram. The guy's jacked and stacked, Scottish Highland Games athlete, okay? He's got a long storied history of exercise. He knows what he's doing, lots of barbell training, okay? He doesn't care as much about leanness as someone like Alex Leonidas or Alec Onkiri, but point is, he's a strong dude. He's in his early 50s, and he can still bench north of 3 plates. At age 49, he did a 405 front squat, so that's pretty impressive. That mogs me. My best front squat is only 261. Guy mogs me into oblivion, and he's more than twice my age. So go check him out, right? That, like, even if there's a tangible decrease to your gains because of age, get to work. Quit making excuses. If you start younger, you'll have a training history. Okay, you'll iron out some of the learning curve, right? It's really never too late to start until you're on your deathbed, but you might as well start today. What's wrong with you? Don't use age as a cope. Another one, peer pressure. Okay, if you just point out that something's popular and other people are doing it and they're getting clout and they're making money, they're getting subscriptions. Oh, if I have a nicer body, I'll be able to get sponsored. No, don't go down that rabbit hole of selling your body for cheap gratification for easy money. You're going to regret it in the long run. Doing things for peer pressure is stupid. Okay, I hate to sound like a grandpa, but if your friends, told you to jump off your bridge, would you do it? Right? Use some common sense, folks. Just because something's popular doesn't mean it's good. Or just because something's increasing popularity doesn't mean it's acceptable. There's such a thing as morality. It's actually real. And this goes back to that whole noble natty thing, right? Why is it noble? Because it's a good thing to promote or to be against bad things actively. It's not enough to be morally neutral and say, hey, everyone can do whatever they want. It's no big deal. I'm not going to judge you. Well, I don't judge people personally in the sense where I'm not going to insult them and put them down. But if I were talking to them one-on-one, you better believe I'm going to try and influence them. I'm going to try and talk them out of it because I actually care about them. And they might get offended, but I care about them enough to put up with their response to my valid criticism without me being a jerk. You can point out someone's flaws and what they're doing that's wrong, their behavior, that is, without being a jerk about it. And that's what makes the noble natties noble. Sorry, folks, if you don't like that, too bad. But moral relativism isn't going to save the world. All right. And then maybe some people make an objection. Oh, well, PEDs, SARMs are bad and TRT's bad, but what about this, caffeine, creatine, where do you draw the line, man? Yeah, whatever.
You draw the line wherever you need it.
The point is, you should know the difference between hard drugs, actual PEDs, and just like taking caffeine. There's a world of difference between that. Obviously, caffeine is not a PED, you fool. Goodness gracious. And I think part of this just goes back to people have this sort of like, live fast and die young, like, whatever, man. They're my years, I can spend them however I want. If I want to shorten my life and have big muscles and win and be a winner, it's up to me. Well, guess what? You're not actually entitled to live a certain amount of years. You're not entitled to life. Life is a precious gift. Every breath that you and I take is a gift. Okay, so for you to use that grace and abuse it, right, take it for granted, it's just so foolish and irresponsible. I tell you what, if someone puts themselves in a position where they know they're going to shorten their life, but it's for a good cause, completely different. Firefighter goes into a burning building to save lives. That's great. That's perfectly, you can praise that all day. You can praise that all day. But if someone's is shortening their life to get bigger biceps, that's ridiculous, man. I'm not going to praise that. I'm not going to say that's brave. No, it's not brave. It's stupid, quite frankly. And I'm just going to finish off on one more note. So you've seen some footage today of my lifts. You've seen some footage of some other lifts of very impressive individuals. But let me finish off with this. Steroids clearly has an effect of shortening people's lifespans, whether that's through heart attacks or other serious health conditions. Okay, it causes liver damage and all kinds of other organ problems. And measurably, you can see that there is actually a connection between the PED use and people dying in their 20s. Look at Ziz, people dying in their 30s, 40s, 50s, famous bodybuilders, people who are beloved by the fitness community. Even John Meadows, someone who's cherished and loved for, his genuine, his polite, courteous, his positive demeanor, right? He's seen as a good influence in the fitness community. Never really promoted PEDs actively, but yeah, he did take PEDs. He was massive, right? And he died very young, and he left behind his wife and 2 young children. Now, this isn't me attacking a dead man. I love John Meadows' videos. I think his information was on point, and overall, he had a positive influence on YouTube fitness. But don't you think that if John Meadows could, that he would be willing to sacrifice some of his hypertrophy to have some more years with his wife and his precious sons? Don't you think so? Don't you think he'd want that time with his wife and his kids, even if it came at the expense of his big muscles? Anyways, I'll let you think about that one. I don't mean to tug on your heartstrings too much, but think about it. Either way, thank you so much for your time today. I had to get that off my chest. Steroids are completely unacceptable. Stay natural. You're capable of great things. You don't know what they are until you try. Give it years and be patient. All right. So thanks for joining me today. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.